The harmattan winds whispered through the dry, rustling leaves of the Idu forest, a place known in the village of Jeju, the evil forest. It was a place where shadows stretched unnaturally long, and the air hung heavy with a silence that was more unsettling than any sound. Chiamaka, with her bright, inquisitive eyes, and Nkechi, her quieter, more cautious friend, had always been drawn to the forbiddance. They were young, barely past their 16th year, and the village elders' warnings about the forest only fueled their curiosity. They say the spirits of the forgotten ones dwell there, Chiamaka whispered, her voice a mix of fear and excitement, as they stood at the forest's edge. The path a dark, gaping maw. Nkechi hesitated, her eyes darting nervously towards the thick, gnarled trees. My grandmother says those who enter never return, that the Ekwensu himself holds court within. Nonsense, Chiamaka scoffed, though a tremor ran through her voice. Just old wives' tales. Let's just go a little way in, just to see. And so, they ventured into the Jeju. The sunlight, so bright outside, was swallowed by the dense canopy. The air grew cold, and the path, once clear, became a tangle of roots and thorny bushes. The girls pressed on, their footsteps muffled by the thick layer of decaying leaves. A strange, low whispering sound began to fill the air, like the rustling of unseen wings. "Did you hear that?" Nkechi asked, her voice trembling. "Just the wind," Chiamaka said, though she gripped Nkechi's hand tightly. Suddenly, a flock of bats erupted from a hollow tree, their screeching cries echoing through the forest. The girls jumped back, their hearts pounding. They stumbled upon a clearing where a circle of gnarled, twisted trees stood like silent sentinels. In the center of the grove, a single, ancient Iroko tree loomed, its branches reaching towards the sky like skeletal fingers. Strange, glowing orbs flickered among the trees, their light casting eerie shadows that danced and writhed. A faint, sickly sweet smell hung in the air, like rotting fruit. Nkechi gagged, pulling her wrapper over her nose. "Let's go," she pleaded, her eyes wide with terror. Chiamaka, however, was transfixed. She took a step towards the Iroko tree, her gaze drawn to a strange, carved mask hanging from one of its branches. The mask's eyes seemed to follow her, their hollow sockets filled with an unsettling darkness. As Chiamaka reached out to touch the mask, a chorus of wailing cries filled the air. The glowing orbs intensified, swirling around the clearing like angry fireflies. The ground began to tremble, and the twisted trees seemed to sway and groan. From the shadows, spectral figures emerged, their forms shimmering and indistinct. They moved in a macabre dance, their ghostly limbs swaying and contorting. The sickly sweet smell intensified, becoming overpowering. Nkechi screamed, her voice a raw, desperate cry. She turned and fled, her feet pounding against the forest floor. Chiamaka, paralyzed with fear, could only watch as the spectral figures closed in around her. Nkechi, her lungs burning, burst from the forest's edge, collapsing onto the dusty path. She looked back, her eyes searching for Chiamaka, but the forest was a solid wall of darkness. She ran back to the village, her cries echoing through the quiet streets. The elders listened, their faces grim, their eyes filled with a knowing sorrow. They knew the Jeju had claimed its victims once more. Days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. Chiamaka was never seen again. Some villagers swore they could hear her faint cries, carried on the harmattan winds, a chilling reminder of the dangers that lurked within the evil forest. And from that day forward the tale of Chiamaka and Nkechi, and the dangers of the Jeju, was told to every child in Jeju.